chaos. Even turning her head back, Yin could feel several presents getting closer, even closer to her. With an unfortunable presence, a pressure in her gut, her instinct drove her to jump forward. Just as her body felt the ground, Kokoshibo's pale hands swiped against the floor, nearly catching her leg. Yin's heart nearly burst out of her chest with panic. Her feet slammed against the wooden flooring as she landed. Despite the exhaustion pricking at her limbs, she focused her body to run even faster, pushing herself to the absolute limit. As she was running with countless thumps against the floor behind her, she felt the ghost of someone touch just above her skin. Feeling someone almost touching her, she allowed her skin to heat up, her arm glowing a dim purple. Just as Sanemi's hand gripped her arm, he drew back, hissing in pain. On the palm of his hand, the outer level of his skin was scorched, a deep burn developing. The Phoenix Demon's speed slowed as she attempted to dodge all of the people trying to grab her. Hands were swinging so fast all around her that she could feel the wind from her movement. Unfortunately, she was unable to dodge all of them. Using his see-through sight, Kokoshibo took advantage of her exhaustion and lunged forward. The Slayers were knocked to the ground from his force, and his arms lifted the Phoenix Pillar up in the air. Yin let out a choke gasp and immediately began to struggle. Even as she bit and tore at the upper moon's skin, he didn't dodge an inch. Instead, he began vibrating, but from the small smile on his lips, it was clear that it wasn't out of pain. The chasing demon slayers immediately shot up, teeth grating together, as they realized the most important person was in the arms of the enemy. The look in their eyes of the demon slayers was different from their usual determination. Their physical expressions were insane. It was almost feral. For the first time since his brother was alive, Kokoshibo felt afraid. Tanjiro's hands gripped tightly on his katana. The vein on his head was bulging, and his eyes were so wide open, it was like they were going to pop out of his head. "Let her go, you monster!" His grip tightened close against her form, every muscle in his body preparing for the enemy's move. Suddenly, as if the slayers were all synced into one hive mind, they launched towards in unison. The upper moon jumped up, dodging the attacks of the slayers. Each sporadic attack was most unpredictable. Even with his see-through sight, Kokoshibo was finding it difficult to evade their attacks with Yin in his arms. Determined her safety was more important, Kokoshibo disappeared from the room with speed almost too fast for the others to comprehend. Entering the next room, Kokoshibo's 6 eyes caught sight of another 2 demon slayers. The pillar, like flame-like hair, unsheathed his katana. The pillar behind him rested his hands upon 2 blades rested on his back. His maroon eyes narrowing upon seeing the woman rested in Kokoshibo's arms. Kokoshibo's hold on Yin tightened, finding himself cornered. Just as Kokoshibo competented his next moves, Akaza and Doma appeared beside him, stance ready. Seeing this, Yin felt her excitement increase, slightly trembled. With 2 forces of opposite sides, the constellation was bound to be catastrophic. The Phoenix Demon couldn't wait to see the outcome. Mistaking her excitement for fear, Kokoshibo gently put the Phoenix Demon down before the 3 upper moons moved in form of a circle around her, barricading her off from the slayers. The sound of clashing swords echoed loudly throughout the room, but Yin's sight limited to the backs of the upper moons. She felt a bit disappointed. With her backs turned, Yin's hands rested on the 3 syringes hidden in her kimono. Surrounded by echoes, Yin struggled to make a decision. Should she return to being a human or slay a demon? Yin weighed the choice in her mind, fingers unconsciously finding with a vein. As a human, she was free, but her abilities were limited. As a demon, her powers were enchanted, but the feeling of always being confined was something that she never wanted to experience again. Life within cramped rooms of the Infinity Fortress was enough to drive her insane. To be a human, the woman could not even remember what it was like to be a human, and despite hating being trapped in the Infinity Fortress, she still felt an odd desire to be strong. To the Phoenix Demon, life as a human was bearable, at least as a demon. She knew what to expect. As Yin competented, it all came down to choosing the known or the unknown. She should should she choose to stay within the confines of comforty, or should she take a leap and risk either having a better or worse outcome? The drowned out noise of the battle grew louder as she refocused her attention on the chaos accompanying around her. Even as marks began to appear on some of the slayers, giving them bursts of energy, the battle was still far from over. After watching multiple slayers struggle to fight against only 3 demons, the choice began clear. You're right. Humans are weak. Colored eyes and red eyes stared deeply at the veins held within her hands. She ran a thumb over the glass. A small smile tugged at her lips. But I can't have you being more powerful than me. I choose neither, she whispered to herself. Of course, there is always a third option. When both paths pursued and undesirable, you create your own. Making the 3 vials within your possession, she popped off the caps, hearing the clutter to the floor before stabbing the 3 demons in the back. They turned to her with a variety of faces of shock, confusion, and betrayal. Quickly, the cure began to spread through the veins. At the alarming rate, the cells in their body began to transform, sending the 3 upper moons to their knees. Yin watched with great satisfaction as the 3 strongest figures in the room collapsed to the ground under her, kneeling at her feet. Before the 3 upper moons out of the way, Yin had taken a spot as the most powerful demon under Muzan. However, without the protection of the 3 demons, Yin was exposed to a large group of demon slayers. Her attention had the slayers grinning widely. Each of them had joy and excitement prickling at their skin. To them, it was obvious that their darling would choose the right side. However, they were unable to predict what happened next. The Dewlish face was crazed desperation all around, with drool nearly seeping from their lips, made the Phoenix Demon almost regret her actions. The gears in her hands turned. With a quick calculation, Yin grabbed the nearest slayer and quickly bit into his shoulder. As she drank his warm blood, she could feel a great amount of energy course through her veins. She fought the nausea and disgust upon tasting human flesh, and continued to drain the demon slayer of his blood. Muchiro cried out in pain before biting his lips. After the eternal shock of pain, the mist pillar quickly melted in the Phoenix Demon's arms. Her familiar touch warmed his heart, despite the slayer quickly losing blood. Unable to inhabit the feeling of nausea, Yin quickly stopped. Although she drank about 3 pounds of blood, the amount of energy was enough. She coughed, the bitter taste of blood making her features scrunch up. The Phoenix Demon tossed the slayer in her arms to the side and prepared herself. As the slayers attempted to come towards her, she surrounded herself with violent flames. Feeling the intense heat, no one dared to come close. She stepped forward and watched with satisfaction as the demon slayers had no choice but to step away. The crowd of demon slayers split like a Red Sea, allowing the Phoenix Demon to pass. Despite nourishing herself with human blood, Yin knew that this energy consumed by her flames was expensive, and that effort wouldn't last long, so using this limited time, she cleared a path for herself using the flames and quickly searched for an exit. Suddenly her surroundings changed. Gazing up above her, her red and eye-coloured eyes noticed the sky, littered with stars. Being outside for a second time during her time as a demon, Yin felt ecstatic. She closed her eyes and basked in the moonlight, feeling the cool wind against her skin and the grass between her feet. She couldn't but take a deep breath and enjoy the scenery, even if it was just for a second. Past the shield of purple flames, she felt a dozen of eyes stared down into her soul. She turned and realized one more that wasn't alone. Still surrounded by slayers, she felt her serenity wave. Irritation began to take place. However, at least now she was no longer in the fortress. Out on the surface, it was much easier to escape. With that in mind, she turned to run. Unfortunately, after using her blood demon art continuously, she felt her energy drain, and the flames began to flicker. Shinobu noticed the strong violet flames beginning to dwindle, signifying to the other slayers they began to spread out, cutting the demons' escape routes. From the corner of their eye, Yen caught sight of slipping off her surrounding. Noticing their combined efforts, her forehead ticked in annoyance. Just as she was completing her next move, a deep voice rumbled, "Yin." Seeing his wife being surrounded by demon slayers, fear soared through his entire body. Now completely focused on protecting her, the Demon King shot forward, knocking over every demon slayer in his way. Yin's eyes brightened upon seeing the Demon King, tried her best to protect her. The Phoenix Pillar pulled back her flames and allowed Muzan to embrace her. Seeing the great amount of slayers and the weakening yet most monstrous in power Demon King, Yin had high hopes. Muzan's arms wrapped around tightly around the Phoenix Demon, with her face pressed against his chest. The grin on her face widened. To Yin, the best possibility scenario was unfolding right before her eyes. The Demon King versus the full power of the Demon Slayer course. The Phoenix Demon pondered the results of the battle, her hopes skyrocketing as she predicted the outcome. If all went well, the two opposing teams would mutually destroy each other without Yin having to lift a single finger. Very soon, Yin would be able to walk free and not to have to worry about anyone ever stopping her. Taisho Era Secrets. The upper moons were less worried about becoming humans, but more worried about the thought of not being able to protect Yin. P.S. This will be technically, we're gonna also take a hiatus of this because this is the latest chapter that has been posted, and I decided to do it on June 1st. And for all you Demon Slayer lovers who are in my channel, I would like to say that through, I'm looking at my calendar, through June 14th to June 21st, I will not be posting because I will be taking a vacation. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'm so sorry that I will be going on vacation, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, lovelies!